Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. This is Preacher Moss. I hope you're having a blessed day. Today I'm going to be speaking on Jews 4, hopefully giving some enlightenment and not too cumbersome a reflection on this Jews. We're going to be speaking on Surah 3, starting with Surah 392, Ayat 92, going through Surah 4, Ayat 23. The balance of this surah at the beginning has to do with reflection on the Battle of Uhud, which was a battle that Muslims lost. In fact, they suffered major losses and damages. But the loss, more so than being a military loss, I also had to do with being, spiritually centered. There's a question that comes out of the Battle of Uhud, which was about faith and what we believe, and how we sometimes we lend ourselves to disbelief. To in many regards, to disbelief requires that you engage faith in the first place. So, and I know if you're ignorant of faith, that's fine. But if you have faith, there are ramifications. Coming from the Abrahamic tradition, we have a tradition coming from the book. We have this faith, but there's a certain thing that's baked into it, which is not just having faith. A working faith requires obedience. And the Battle of Uhud is a teaching moment about obedience, because one of the things that happens is the soldiers don't hold their strategic positions. They don't listen to the game plan that's been laid out, and as a result, they suffer extreme losses. And faith can be that way. They say faith without action is empty, but faith without obedience, brothers and sisters, which is extremely important. Faith without obedience, a lot of times, winds up being hypocritical. It requires that we look at a situation, it requires that we look at a pathway, if you will, and we follow the pathway. The Battle of Uhud speaks to a military event. For those who've been in the military, you know what following orders means. One, it's a discipline to follow order, but two, it is a scope of obedience. You sign off in the service to provide that service in the best interest of your country, the best interest of your fellow soldiers, and things of that nature. The Uhud was different. Uhud was different because, of course, the Muslims celebrated the Battle of Badr. Well, they won, and it was revolutionary the way they won. But the Battle of Uhud is, again, a space where we lost. And we had a spiritual leader. We didn't have a military leader, and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, but we had a spiritual leader. And to not follow the spiritual leader who gives you a guidance and a framework for faith, needless to say, the outcome was disastrous. Even more so as you get into the book of Nisa. It's interesting that there's a parallel in a particular type of alignment, because the Battle of Uhud creates an economy of orphans and widows. And with that, there is a strategic repositioning, a social dynamic whereby women move from being objectified to having objectives, to womanhood, woman personhood, woman agency, whereby the same thing that happened in the Battle of Uhud is not supposed to happen with women who for the most part are building. They build communities. They're foundational builders of community. So what are we saying here? A, we have to look at the fact that faith has a dynamic that's attached to obedience. In the Muslim faith, we talk about faith, we talk about iman, but a lot of times we don't talk about tawakkul. Tawakkul is that trust, total trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that trust represents itself in obedience, whereby we give ourselves to the fact that we know that the pathway that's been laid forth is the best pathway because it comes from the best source. So as I wrap this up, brothers and sisters, I'm going to ask everybody, have faith, but along with that faith, have discipline. Enjoy your day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.